Welcome. My name is Father Mark Toops, a priest of the Diocese of Houma Thibodaux, with a special message to the men in our area, especially my brothers in the Houma and Thibodaux area. If you've been looking for a sign from God that He's calling you to take the next step, then this is it. He is speaking to you right now, especially if not only you're searching for God or in need of God, but especially if your life is messy. So many of us, if we're honest, know what it's like for life to feel messy. It's been almost 2 full years since COVID invaded our lives without our permission, and yet it has affected every one of us. Whether we have been touched physically by COVID or certainly the circumstances of life have been influenced by COVID, it has been messy these last 2 years. It's affected us relationally, some of us professionally and financially, but it's affected all of us, and life has just felt messy because of COVID. Then you throw in Hurricane Ida and all that was the last 4 months of last year. You throw in the early weeks of this year in Hurricane Ida, whether it has affected you physically with your home or possessions, or whether it has just affected all of us emotionally. The visual mess of it all, but also the emotional mess of dealing with all that. And yet sometimes it is the external circumstances of life that make life feel messy. But sometimes for men, if we're honest, it's actually the interior circumstances that make life feel messy, right? So many men, especially some of us who are watching right now, know what it's like to struggle with habitual sin. Sometimes the sins that people are aware of, and sometimes the secrets that are inside your heart. Maybe you know what it's like to struggle with things that you just can't let go of, right? Resentment, unforgiveness, expectations that weren't met either by life or of yourself or other people. But sometimes in a man's heart, if he's honest, it can be real messy in there. And that's when we need God, who's not afraid of the mess, to be with us. And if that's where you are, if you're searching for God, if you need something to jumpstart your spiritual life, or if you just need to know that you're not alone in the mess, then I want to welcome you with a special invitation. This Saturday, March the 5th, at Christ the Redeemer Catholic Church in Thibodaux, they are hosting their annual Rise Up Men's Conference. It's an opportunity for men in our area to gather for one day, for a special day for God to speak to us. Excited this year about our keynote speaker, Mr. Wade Berzos. You may remember that legendary 2019 LSU football season when LSU won the national championship. And you may remember in the semifinal of the playoff when LSU played Oklahoma in the Peach Bowl that the whole LSU community was dramatically affected by a plane crash that affected the lives of the LSU coaching community. The lone survivor of that crash was Wade. And Wade has a story of finding God in the midst of that tragedy. And every day since then, you talk about a man who has dealt with some traumatic things in life, some messy things in life. And he's a guy just like you are. He's a guy who's searching for God just like you are. And he's got a message of how he found God in the mess. And he's got a message that's going to help you find God in the midst of the circumstances in your life. The book that we're going to use this year for the conference is Life is Messy by Matthew Kelly. And we have an action-packed day for you. Let me walk you through some of the details. Breakfast and check-in is going to be at 7:30 a.m. at Christ the Redeemer right there on Talbot Avenue. At 8:30 a.m., Archbishop Shelton Fobb, our bishop now just for a few more weeks before he transitions to Louisville at the end of the month, is going to celebrate Mass at 8:30, a special opportunity for Archbishop Fobb to be with the men of our area, to not only bless them, to say goodbye to them, and to share his heart with them. Every one of the participants is going to receive a copy of the book, Life is Messy. And our talks are not only going to be anchored by Wade, but we're also going to welcome this year Father Patrick Riviere, as well as Friar Antonio Speedy, 2 great priests of our diocese who are going to speak to the hearts of all the men that are there. We're excited about our folks who are helping sponsor this year's event. We have a Bourgeois Meat Market as well as Spar's Restaurant who are going to be providing some hospitality for us. And if you want to learn more, you can go to ctr-htdiocese.org. and you can search for Rise Up, or you can just search in Google for Rise Up Thibodaux, and it will bring you to the landing page with all the information that's there. Again, that's Rise Up, a one-day men's conference this Saturday, March the 5th. It's going to registration starts at 7:30, and the day is going to wrap up around 3 p.m. Really want to encourage you to join us this year. Want to encourage you to bring other men with you, but want to encourage you to register now as space is limited, and we want to make sure that you have a seat at the table. Again, you can go to the internet, ctr-htdiocese.org, search for Rise Up, or just look for us on the web. We look forward to seeing you on this coming Saturday, and until we see you at Christ the Redeemer for Rise Up, God bless.